So we got this 4 sites and we got an NBMA in the middle. We got non-broadcast multi-access, the frame relay in the middle. So let's verify the frame relay first before we move to the modes of OSPF NBMA. When I type this command show frame relay map, I should see the routes to reach the remote sites 10.222, 10.002, 10.003 and 4. When you ping 10.002, you should be pinging. Yeah, we are able to ping. Now the loopbacks on these routers, if you want to ping, you need a routing protocol. So you decided to run OSPF router OSPF 1 network 1000 0.255.255.255 area 0 network 10.000 0.255.255.255 area 0. So we are running OSPF on these two network configured interfaces. You may verify that by typing this command show IP OSPF interface brief. You can see OSPF is running on loopback 0 and serial 2/0. What next we need to do is configure OSPF on the other routers 2, 3 and 4. Router OSPF 1 network 2.0.0.0 sorry, wildcard mask area 0 network 10.0.0.0 area 0. Likewise, let me finish configuring 3 and 4. Now I am going to go under the interface serial 2/0 IP OSPF 1 area 0. This is also another way of configuring OSPF, we all know this. And then now router 3 is also router 3 is not configured yet. Done. So we got OSPF running on all these routers, but will they form neighbor? No. Can anyone read what we learned on the day? The first mode is non-broadcast. What are the points that you wrote there? Read it. You see the neighbor is still waiting. Show IP OSPF neighbor. We don't have any neighbor, though we have configured OSPF. Don't try to configure OSPF on frame relay switch. It's a switch. Alright? The neighbors won't come. Why? Please don't be silent. You are learning. I'm helping you to learn here. So you should answer. What did we learn?
In this DR and VDR relation doesn't happen.
Sorry, no, wrong. Keep your mic a little far away from your mouth, please. Okay, but that is not the answer. Yes, next one, next person.
We have to configure the neighbor manually.
Yeah, neighbors are not neighbors are not dynamically discovered when you have non-broadcast as the mode. Kindly mute. Good point. Mute. The default mode is non-broadcast. When you have frame relay, the default NBMA mode is non-broadcast. I want to show you that. See here, show IP OSPF interface serial 2/0. You see the mode here, the type is non-broadcast. And you see we learned that the timer will be 30 and 120. It is not 10 and 40. It is 30 and 120. We also learned that there won't be any neighbors dynamically discovered. No neighbors are discovered dynamically. So what we are going to do, see the adjacent neighbor count is 0. No neighbors. So in order to have a neighbor, what I need to do is, as our Shivaram said, I have to configure neighbor manually like this. Router OSPF 1. Neighbors are 10.0.0.2, neighbor 10.0.0.3, neighbor 10.0.0.4. Actually, if you do on one side, it will work. See, it says works, loading to full, the neighbor has come, but no, it will be abnormal. It won't behave normal. So you need to do it on either side. So go to router 2, router OSPF 1, neighbor 10. Likewise, go to router 3. Likewise, go to router 4. That's it. This is the right approach. So now neighbors are configured. Check show IP OSPF neighbor. You got a neighbor. This is next problem. This says router 1 is a BDR. So someone else is a DR. Now let's go to router 1. Show IP OSPF neighbor. And you can see router 4 is a DR because of the highest router ID. Yeah, so we got DR BDR, that's the problem, say if router 1 goes down, what is the use of the DR on R4? No use, because R1 is the hub. If R2 wants to reach R3, it needs to go via R1. You see, I'll show you. Router 2, show IP route. It's not learning any routes. Why? Let's go to router 1 and check. You know why? It's a split horizon problem. Router 4 is a DR. It's supposed to give to router 2 and 3, but there is no direct connection to 2 and 3. So it won't give. See, in router 4 you will have the routes. Show IP route. You have the route to reach 11111. But router 4 is supposed to give this to router 2 and 3. Not able to do. Likewise, router 2 and 3 will send it to router 4, but it cannot send it to 4 because it is not connected directly to 4. It will send with the multicast address 224.0.0.6 with a scope of 1 hop, but it's not in 1 hop. So there is no chance of router 2 and 3 routes learning in router 4. We'll check the route in the BDR. Show IP route OSP route. This knows about the loopback of designated router, no other. Because when others are giving, DR is not in a position to take. So how do you solve the problem? Go to router 1 and make it as DR. How? interface serial 2/0 IP OSPF priority IP OSPF 1 priority. I'm giving the maximum, and then I'm going to clear the OSPF process. I'll go to router 4 and clear the OSPF process. Router 4 clear IP OSPF process. Now you'll see router 1 becoming a designated router. Show IP route, show IP OSPF neighbor. Okay, give some time, it's attempting. Okay, router 1 is a designated router because the priority I have set to 255. Now let's go to router 1. Show IP OSPF neighbor. Show IP what? R4 is still shown as DR. R1 is a DR. R4 is not DR. R1 is a DR. Yeah, it changed. Why it shows R3 as a DR? I think there is some still, the configuration, the things are going on. Show IP OSPF, show IP route. See, now it has learned from 33333, but it should learn from 444 and 222. Wait some time, there's some changes still going on. Router 3 should not be shown as DR. One is shown as BDR. How? Clear IP OSPF process. So you need to somehow make hub router to be the DR. See, this confusion, if you want to avoid, you need to have a full mesh to have this mode, non-broadcast. I have given that point. What? Non-broadcast is recommended for full mesh, but this is hub and spoke. That's why you are facing these issues. Okay, now let's go to router 1. Now you are able to see 22222 show IP OSPF neighbor. Come on, now 2 is shown as DR. Kidding. Clear. What I am doing is not a solution. I am just showing what all problem you will face if you leave the non-broadcast mode as a default when you have hub and spoke. Show IP OSPF neighbor. Let me go to router 1 now. Good. Now check the routing table, show IP route. Only now it learns all the route. Did you see now? See, you have to do a lot of gymnastic to make this happen. After R1 became DR, if you go now to R4 and check the routing table, you will have the routes. Do you need this headache? This is not an acceptable one. See, if it is a small topology, you can do this. In a large topology, not practically possible. So what I have to do? I need to move to next mode. But if you are very stubborn, no, I will not go to next mode, which is point to multi-point. I don't want. If you feel like that, there is a way. go to all the router where you configure neighbor statically, you also set priority to 0. Meaning, you are telling wait. Should not say priority 0, 255. This neighbor priority is 255, meaning he only will be the DR, but I will not participate in any election. How you do that? IP OSPF priority 0. So locally we put priority 0. This is more important. Even if you don't say priority 255 for the neighbor, it is okay. Locally you should say all the interfaces serial 2/0 IP OSPF priority 0, meaning I will not participate in election, so that always router 1 will be a designated route. Now, this is the way that you can solve the problem. Clear IP BGP star. Sorry, clear IP OSPF process. Clear IP OSPF process. I'm back. And if you notice now, the neighbor has come back. Let's check now. Show IP OSPF. Neighbor all will be in designated other, because the priority is set to 0. So the only router which will be designated router will be R1. If that R1 goes down, there is no need for BDR or DR. So we don't want BDR. Now if you see the route, you will see the route. Show IP route, you have the routes. And if you go to router 2 and check the routing table, you will have all other routes. Show IP route. You have route to reach 4444, 3333, as well as 1111. Is this clear? The first mode, non-broadcast, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Second mode is point to multi-point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the OSPF once again. I'm going to remove and make it fresh, because when we use the same topology to see next mode, sometimes we make mistake when you do alteration. So instead of alteration, let us remove. Route enable config T no router OSPF 1. Even if you would have configured OSPF under the interface, this command will remove from the interface also. Though I am putting no in global mode, it will remove OSPF 1 from interface. So I'm going to paste this on every router. Router 1, router 2, router 3, 4. Then OSPF is removed. Let's verify. Show IP OSPF interface brief. There is no OSPF. Though I configured it under the interface, it's removed. Check it on router 4. Show IP OSPF interfaces. No interface, no OSPF. No OSPF. Fine. So we got the OSPF completely removed from these 4 routers. What next is we are going to run OSPF again. Before that I want to right, let's run. Now I want to use the notepad to run OSPF. In all the routers, I have 2 interface, which is loopback 0, IP OSPF 1 area 0, and then interface serial 2/0. You see, all the router has got 2/0 only. IP OSPF area 0. Now I'm going to paste this on router 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 4, 3 in Kannada. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so I have pasted OSPF necessary configuration. Again, you won't have neighbor because the default is what? Non-broadcast. Let me show you again. Show IP OSPF interface serial 2/0. When it is non-broadcast, it cannot form neighbor. So, we will not find neighbor. What we are going to do next is, we are going to make the second mode to be active. So the first mode will disappear. What is second mode? Point to multi-point. What did you learn in point to multi-point? Please answer. When we change this point to multi-point, the neighbor will be dynamically discovered. Thanks for answering. Second, there won't be any DR BDR election. And the timer will be 30 and 120. The neighbors will be dynamically discovered. There will not be DR BDR. The timer will be 30 and 120 and all neighbors should be in same subnet. See, all are in same subnet. So now let us do it. I go under interface serial 2/0 and say IP OSPF network type point to multi-point. You need to do this on every router, so I'm going to put in the notepad. You have to do it on all the router. Even if the neighbor comes up when you put on hub router, you should put it on all the router. Right. Now, let us go to R1 and see the neighbor. See, the neighbors are up. Show IP OSPF neighbor. See, there is no DR BDR mentioned. All have got full adjacency. Now, no problem. You go to any router, you will see the routes. Go to router 3 and check the route. Show IP route. You will have the routes. Paka routes. Check on R4. Show IP route. You have routes. Ping.
But also you have configured the OSPF area 1.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
See, point to multiple.
No. Only on the serial interface. You check your mic, it is making too much noise. Only on the serial interface. Not on the loopback interface. Only on the serial interface.
Now okay.
Now okay. You see, you are able to ping from R4 to R2's loopback. So whenever you got hub and spoke, this is the best mode. Now, I want to tell you something. Whatever I have shown now, the two modes, is what every vendor will support. The other three that you are going to learn is only Cisco's. So let's move to the other three now. What did you see here? The neighbors are dynamically discovered, which is not good. Why? Because in the middle you got a frame relay. It is like a big internet untrusted network. What is the advantage of this mode is there is no DRBDL. Now what we need is the best of both, which is the third method, Cisco's method. Point to multi-point non-broadcast. Point to multi-point non-broadcast is what we are going to do now. So what I'll do, I'll go again to, I'll go to all the interfaces. Point to multi-point non-broadcast. I'm going to paste this now on all the devices. What will happen is you will lose a neighbor. 4, 3, 2, 1. You will lose the neighbor. Why? For this mode, the neighbors need to be statically configured. Show IP OSPF neighbor, no neighbor. So I'm going on router 1, router OSPF 1, neighbor is 10.0.0.2, 3 and 4. Likewise, I'll go to other router, router OSPF 1, neighbor is 10.0.0.1. Yeah. For all the spokes, this is the neighbor. So I'll paste this on router 2, 3 and 4. What is next? Next is I should see everything like before. No DRBDR. See, show IP OSPF neighbor. No DRBDR, and you will have routes on every router via hub. Show IP OSPF. Show IP route. All the route. Even now you can ping from here to the source 404. You see? This is the third method, third mode. Up to this, I want you to finish.